as well, and that's why I think I really love Secret, because they're a very well-rounded team with this new roster.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on then in this series. Our match is pretty much ready, so we're going to toss it over there ASAP. It's going to be Cafe Dostoyevsky. Secret banning out.
That's what I predicted.
For it. Well, why? What's the mindset here behind that? How did you select
I was looking at the previous vetoes for both these teams. We've seen Cafe banned a little bit from Empire, not so much from Secret, but it was actually a nail in the coffin for me. The thing that made me think Empire was not going to ban it was the fact that they banned it in Russian Major League just the other day. And often you'll do that. You'll ban it in your national league so that you can save it for EUL. So I think that's what they did there. Anyway, regardless, this is a great map for Secret. They dumpstered both G2 and Rogue on this map. So I think this is probably going to swing their way. But hey, Empire have clearly been saving some strats, so I'm keen to see what they've got to show.
They've banned it a decent amount, so you got to hope that they've been saving strats and they've got something up their sleeve, because we haven't really seen anything from them here.
All right, you know what? Let's just toss it over to the game. I want to see this question answered directly in the match. Mano a mano. Well, 5 mano a mano. Let's see how this goes. Empire versus Team Secret. And it's Jessichu. You know what? I choose you. Go for it.
He's gone for it again today, boys and girls. Welcome back. Me and Jess once again heading into Cafe. I can't decide if it's Villa or if it's Cafe we're cursed by anymore. Oregon is a thing of the past. And frankly, one of these teams' chances of making it into that top 4 spot is going to be after this game. 2 teams that whoever comes out on top today makes it to the major. And given the stage 1 that both teams had, bottom 3, that would be a huge turnaround compared to stage 1, Jess.
The biggest thing here is that both teams have been able to come back from adversity and show us that they are one of those big hitters. Secret had to do a massive reformation to make that happen. And Empire, well, I think they've done some things internally, some coaching things. I saw a video the other day as to how coaching really works over in Russia and how hardcore they are about it. I saw 3 people standing behind them, really getting into the nitty gritty. So it's really cool to see that there's multiple ways these teams are coming back and hitting hard in one of the most competitive EUL seasons we've ever had.
You know what I'm looking forward to? 4th ban. I think we all have an inkling as to what it's going to be against Secret, but their first ban coming out is going to be the Thatcher. And when I'm making that joke, of course, I'm referring to the fact that Clash seems to get banned away permanently against Secret ever since they brought Patbull on board. Well known in the UK for being a player of that operator. I think that'll be the one that we see follow up there. Valkyrie going to be the next one coming away. No surprise to this map, given the number of sneaky little locations, both inside and outside the building, where those cameras can go.
Yeah, I'm just sort of sitting here waiting, biding my time. No!
Ooh!
Were my instead. And I actually respect
Patbull,
that.
You know what to do.
Look, you know what? If they do play the Clash, that's fine because Capital is still in. You can see the little smiley face coming out from Packball there. He knows exactly what is open for him. And on this map, particularly on multiple sides, the Clash works really, really well. You can shepherd a lot of those attackers into certain avenues, really give really good intel that you would otherwise be missing out on. And with the Valkyrie band, well, you're going to see pretty much 100% pick rate of that Maestro that Joystick's on at the moment. If you're kind of confused why Joystick is on that support role, during stage 2, he moved over to full support on Smoke, Maestro, etc. All of those, intel-heavy operators, for example. And well, he's been doing pretty damn good on the Smoke for the player denial and on the intel-heavy operators like Maestro. So it's good to see that he is so flexible, and I'm hoping we see that here today for his team.
One thing I've got to refer back to, and anyone who's heard me cast Secret on this map before, I will have referenced this every single time I've cast them. One of my favorite games of Siege ever was Team Secret versus Crazy in Challenger League Season 11. It ended 6-6. It was ridiculously close. It was like watching a game of chess. I absolutely loved it. So what does Secret say? They make their way into EUL. Who do they bring along for the ride? Packbull, where did he used to play? Oh, yeah, for Crazy. Isn't that funny? Man, it's like they're trying to build a cafe superpower here with this roster. And I'm hoping that against Empire, it's the one that works out for them. Absolutely worth stressing once again just how much is on the line here. For both of these teams, whichever one wins will make it to the major this season after a pretty shambolic stage 1. If they draw, I'm pretty sure Empire win on the tiebreak against another team, so they would make it, but Secret wouldn't, or something along those lines. There is some kind of weird jiggle up here. I may have got that completely wrong, in which case I apologize. But there's a world where only one of them can make it if a draw does become the outcome, so we'll be keeping a very, very close eye on how this affects the table as we get towards the end of it.
Oh no, I know exactly what Packball's trying to do. I think he wants to get into Fireplace, maybe shoot himself up the hatch, which would actually be really good for his team to get cocktail control very quickly. But they're putting a downstairs hold. They've got double reinforcements over towards Library. They've got a C4 Blade Glow, or I at least assume that always has a C4. Yes, he does. Thank you. And his opportunity to be able to hold below with that C4, maybe even get a very big impact kill as well, is heightened by the fact that he does have those reinforcements to guide him. Packball has been stalled out by the fact that I think they know he is down there, but he is alone, so they could clear him pretty quickly if they get a drone onto him and pinch him.
Mildly alternative take as well, with pretty much all the secrets stacked out towards the east. No conventional piano take, then look to push across to the east. Instead, they are playing from below, looking towards White Stairs and looking towards the windows that lead directly into Cocktail. It's pretty risky. It can be real bloody if you're trying to get your way through those windows, so normally you need a catalyst, an inspiration happening elsewhere to enable that play to come through. So we're keeping a close eye on that. Maybe it's this Buck on the downstairs looking to contest onto the Maestro spot where Joystick is currently holding. Both players down a couple of fractions of their HP. Neither of them are going down. Joystick's so scared of the floor, he's got straight up on top of the desk here, looking to hold these angles where this mouse, this rat of Chate downstairs, is looking to cause him a bit of a headache. More floor holes being opened up. No one being picked out, at least initially. And we've spaced it about 60 seconds here with no one really moving, just around this sole dance of death being done by both Chate and the Maestro.
Whereas always, he hasn't moved a muscle out of train. And the big thing that means is that they all think they're safe downstairs. He could have a huge impact here. I believe he's got the Vector, so he doesn't have a huge magazine. So he needs to make these shots count. And here he comes, Des.
There we go. Managed to swing around and pick up Patbull on White Stairs. A little bit slow from Secret here. I know they're a team that like their executes, but this is uncharacteristically slow. They're being absolutely torn asunder from above. A couple of kills coming in from that general direction, and this should give everything to the side of Empire with only 30 seconds to go against 3 members left alive, 2 of them within a bullet of death, for them to be able to take this round away pretty comfortably. We do find one coming back up. Ashate will finally win that gunfight against Joystick. A fight for the ages. That one had been going on for about 2 minutes, but they do not come out on top. Now, Prano looking to want to see what he can do. Back on this Sophia, of course, having played Ash pretty much the entirety of last week, will find a kill. But with only 5 seconds to go, a 3 versus 1. This one should be done and dusted unless Draven could pull off an absolute miracle here. But I'm not too hopeful. Tries to find the one at the top of the stairs. Always collects the kill, and Empire comfortably taking round number 1.
What I really liked there was that Always could hear the buck going on for 30 straight seconds. There's a lot of players from tier 1 all the way down to tier 4 that could not be as patient as he was. He knew he was alone. He knew there was a bunch of people harassing that Maestro below. And he either came out and decided to peek. And mind you, someone was originally rappelling on the fireplace window, so that wouldn't have been advantageous at all. And he just waited and waited and bided his time. It's almost as if he had been trained to just hold that C4 for dear life for the plant denial and keep himself alive no matter what. It was really interesting to watch because you don't see a lot of players have that patience anymore and that kind of trigger control that he had. And he did manage to take one down there. So it was a really good, impactful kill, I think, especially with the time on the board.
Head down to the bottom of the map. And I imagine there'll be a change in tactic here coming out of Secret, probably a more conventional take. We've seen quite a few variants of the kitchen take, in the last week or so, Jess, where some teams start up on the 3rd floor, clear their whole way through the map with drones. Some just say, yeah, screw that. We're going to open those walls through Bakery and get straight onto the site and go for a plant. We don't care about those vertical holes. In fact, I believe it was BDS who were more than happy, especially with Shaiko, to contest those angles from below, looking upwards and win out those gunfights. So who knows what we'll see? By the looks of it, this vertical hole coming up, well, not vertical hole, this vertical kite electroclaw coming out of Always. I wonder if Secret will spot that out. I imagine if drones are running into Fireplace, they'll see it. Otherwise, that could catch them by surprise.
Yeah, I think it's a delay tactic, really. You know, you got to drone it out. You got to spot where it is. There's no IQ on the attacking lineup, so it's just going to take extra long to be able to spot that out. I like things like that, especially if you know they're not going to run an IQ. It just really delays attackers out, and drones have been a problem for all teams this season, so I'm not surprised. Draven's going to swing and a miss. And that's okay, because for the most part, we've seen a lot of teams be prepping those C4s, whether they toss it after it's opened or they leave it on the hatch ready to explode. I think that's a good tactic as well. I know you lose your C4 early, but a lot of teams have been taking multiple C4s, and if I can get an extended view, there might be 3 on the side of Empire. There's 2 Dan's got his impacts instead. And then we've got the smokes from Shepard for that plant denial. I love this composition, Des, and the reason I love it is because there's so much opportunity to deny drones, deny plant. You've got those impacts for some kind of destruction if you need it, and you've got C4s for that vertical play from underneath. I think there's just so much versatility here.
I would love to see them play into what Secret like to do here, where Secret open up the wall inside a fireplace, roll some grenades through the floorboards to destroy the electro core from above. As the grenade falls through the floor, it blows it up and gets that opened up for them. Here, if that's opened up, you've got an opportunity with those impact nades to deny away some of those X-Kairos that might come through. Keeping a very close eye on Patbull here, of course, with the ace not being picked along, kind of a surprise, I would wager. A lot more reliance on the Habana, likely because you only have to expend one X-Kairos to get the hatch open, save the other two to look for the freezer wall downstairs, so when the execute comes through.
Well, they've been able to get that roof open in good time. You used to always speak about getting that verticality in really good time, and they've been able to do that. And there is a VIP hold. So for me, the biggest problem that we've seen G2 have on this map is not getting rid of that VIP hold. We'll see if that's going to be a problem here for Secret, because for the most part, it looks like they will go for that freezer take. And if they do happen to have a little bit of a pinch push, it might be difficult because I think there's still a mute jam on that wall.
They committed both of those X-Kairos upstairs just to give themselves the angle down into the full plant spot was quite interesting as well. Hopefully, that should be able to help them cut rotates out all the way straight down through. Thank you very much, as pointed out there lovely and wonderfully by Medics. So keeping a close eye on that in the late round, we'll see if it was worth those two X-Kairos or if it comes back to bite them. The third one goes off, and I imagine that's fireplace being opened up. Hive missing some crucial shots onto Scyther. Strikes back big time. Draven trading one back the other way. And now that he's in control of the top floor, grenades can start singing out downstairs. Will not find a kill, but it does give Always fair reason to move away and back away from the corner. Secret have gone for their drop. They've managed to get themselves in. The smoke comes out in the wrong spot. Shepard, he's able to contest for free as no one is watching the doorway. Does get traded out, and now Shate has got to go for the plant. I don't think they know exactly where the Jaeger is. Scyther is inside of the site. Does he know where he is? I don't think they do. Coming across from the alternative side, he's got to win the one, but he doesn't. He must know the plant's going down. Oh, comes Shate! Misses the shots, and Scyther wins the 1 versus 2. A triple kill comes out, and Empire will snatch around back from the jaws of defeat.
What a perfect snap with the carbine there onto the head. I thought initially he had got the first headshot there, but it didn't look like he did, and it didn't matter. He cleaned it up in the end anyway. And I think that's why the downfall of not having drones there, not being able to spot out where that person is in that sort of those last dying seconds when you've got so many dead teammates probably flicking through the remaining drones. That's probably a big weakness to having not enough drones during that execution stage of attack. So,
ooh, okay. Well, that's a good way to start off a game where people are competing over a major spot. I'm down for it. Just 2 rounds in, full of life. Energy, zest was the magic word I was looking for at the start of that and couldn't quite pluck out of thin air. Zest, yeah. I think of zest and I always think of citrus for some reason.
Yeah, you should.
I'm always saying, I'm like, well, people are full of zest and full of life, but citrus, why not? Anyway, round number 3 we go into. Reading and Fireplace going to be the next site. A site that you and I quite enjoy for a couple of reasons. One, coming down to the fact that you can use all 3 floors to play around this site if you so choose, but more commonly, the fact that teams have to worry about taking the top floor first before making their way onto the downstairs. So it's an opportunity for defenders to, 1, hold most of the top floor and try and waste as much time with the attackers as possible, and then fall back to the site and have to make them fight over it all over again. Going for a very standard setup here where the intent is to hold down Cocktail, both of those storage walls reinforced. Not looking to play inside of storage itself with a shield facing out in towards Piano, as some teams like to do when holding the top floor. But instead, look to drop through that hatch when the time comes round to getting the hell out of Dodge once they feel they've wasted enough time of secrets.
Well, we'll see exactly what they do with it. And if you're hearing little echo Jess, it's because, as my background would give away, I've moved into a new office space, a new studio, and well, the room is pretty much empty except for little old me and my desk and my computer. So you'll have to deal with the echo for now. I'll work it out in the coming days, I'm sure. But for now, I can't make my voice any quieter either. So
I think you're just trying to get some brownie points for your boss there, Jess, by staying in late.
Yeah, that's very true.
You're first in, last out of the office, you know. Good worker, Jess. She puts in the hard yards. Fair play to her. Sucking up for that promotion. That's what she does.
Why not? Why not?
Alrighty, let's see how it shapes out then. 2 minutes left in the round, as you can see. Nothing really much happened to start things off. I think both of the last 2 rounds have been pretty slow for Secret. They have taken a bit of time to get themselves in position, and Empire have kind of just sat there waiting and just been like, well, if you want to come for it, then by all means, we're ready. Like, do you want to play some Siege, guys? It's been 90 seconds. What's going on? And then it comes to the dying seconds, and admittedly in that last round, things almost went right for them. That final execution was almost there. If not for a Scyther 1v2, 1v3 coming at the very end of the round. So let's see how this one shapes up for them. We are about 80 seconds in or so. Starting to get control of this top floor. You're then going to be looking towards that vertical assault, looking towards the downstairs. And that's going to be inhibited ever so slightly by Joystick bringing down the Nomad.
I just love watching Joystick on the SMG. I mean, ever since that Consulate clutch, I was just a big fan of him in every iteration we've ever seen him. In the Jaeger iteration, the Maestro iteration, and Smoke Mute iteration. I'm really happy to see him in his new form. And oh, wow, a good bit of trades there. And the importance of those trades are, as we reach the 60-second mark, they really needed to have some of those C4s down, of which they got at least one out off the board. Now, the big thing is trying to waste those smoke babes. And looks like Shepard's holding on to them with dear life, waiting for the time to dwindle. They didn't win last round very confidently. That's not how you want to win a round, by clutching it out, having a 1vx situation there. So for Secret now, that they're looking to make this a lot more comfortable and probably look to get that execute down in better time with better cover.
Dan's basically shackled to White Stairs to save his life here, holding it both down towards the lower side, and initially was looking towards the top, but wasn't quite there to stop Shade getting that kill onto the member on the top floor. A 3 versus 3, and they're looking for the plants inside of the default spot, just inside to the right-hand side of Reading Door from the north. Whereas for the most part, Empire have got control of the south side, so there's going to be a real big sticking point here when it starts coming to execution time, and they might get themselves stung up by smokes. But Papel's got away with it. He's inside of planting and almost went down as well. One more smoke could have been enough, but I think it's only about to come out there. Now he might finally go down. No, it's still just shy. But the diffuser has gone down, and Secret are in a very favorable position in this post plant. The vertical angles, the angles from the doorway, and one member on site. This is going to be a slight panic station coming out for the side of Empire, I think, and they know that one player is holding upstairs. They just don't know exactly where. Gotta look to go for the drop and gotta look to contest soon. Here we go. Finally, Draven gets brought down. That's going to be that top floor control gone. Dan springs forward and brings down Papel on site. That leaves one more in pillars. It's Prano all by himself. Is the angle being watched? I don't think it is. They must know. There we go. He comes off in perfect time. And despite it being a 3 versus 3, Empire turn out to be the end of round kings as they go 3-0 here. The Secret are left wanting.
Shepard was right to hold on to those smokes all round. You know, that plant denial was the key. We know Secret like to be objective-based, especially in their new formation and composition. They're really good at being able to get that plant down. And usually, I would say Secret's a team that can hold off on a plant for the most part. I don't remember a lot of really fancy retakes against Secret. In fact, I remember Secret being the ones to be better at retaking than most teams. What I think is happening here is that for Empire, they don't get overcritical when the plant's getting down. They don't start throwing bodies at it. They go, okay, we'll let him plant, and now we talk to each other and go, how can we retake key power positions to retake the diffuser and get that diffuse off? That's probably a really calm, collective plan that a lot of other teams don't think about, that I think gives Empire the leg up here. And 2 rounds in a row where there's a clutch and a diffuse, I mean, what else can you ask from Empire? They're doing everything that they can to be able to win these rounds.
Noticeable change coming out here in the Iana being brought along, but it's not by the player you'd come to expect on the side of Secret as well. Normally you would see Draven being the go-to frag grenade wielder, moving between the buck, the sledge, and then blatantly playing the Iana an awful lot, but they have all 3 of those operators here. It's a party for Draven in memory of the many amazing plays that he has made behind those frag grenades. But here with Hive playing it, I'm keen to see what changes they make in terms of the roles. Nothing really worth shouting about, I don't think. It's going to be, again, playing behind those frags, the intel that Hive can provide. Normally in these kind of contexts, you'd see him on something like a Nomad, as we've seen for the last few rounds, and even the Ace earlier. No, it wasn't the Ace, sorry. Who did they play first round? Was it an Ace? I think it was an Ace back in the first round.
Good question. I'm still thinking about last round with the clutch.
It's like, oh, I'm still dreaming about that 3v3. How can I ever forget it? It was so cool.
I do like it, especially when you can retake the verticals. I think a player that can achieve that does a world of help for the team. They might not get the diffuse off, but they're the ones that took the position that would otherwise have sort of disabled that to be able to happen. And now, I think the Secret's plan here, and from what I can tell from the first round as well, was what they want to pinch push on the side. They want to hold really long rotate cutting angles over towards Heaven, over towards White Windows, for example, Cocktail. You can see them all bunching up here, and all of these angles that they can get with their ACOGs, 2x scopes, etc., are really advantageous for the attackers, because for the most part for Empire, they've had to, you can see them all now, they've all shifted themselves over towards the southwestern side of the top floor, and that makes them harder to be able to counter a lot of these attackers. And there's one below right now, moving on and getting the entry kill into Always. I'm not sure, he must be rotating below, but it's a bad time for him.
A little bit quicker here to get things set up as well, with that opening kill coming out quite early on. And straight away they are downstairs looking to do some damage with the vertical angles, getting that floor opened up. We'll probably explain the number of grenades they brought as well as the buck to help them contest these kind of angles. And there we go. The second kill coming out, this one for Shate once again on that buck. A 5 versus 3, something that in the past Secret would have feared. They were a team that were excellent at finding the opening kill, but absolutely awful at retaining an advantage and closing rounds out. And you may have felt that a little bit in 2 of these rounds, given it has been a bomb down, 3 members of Secret left alive, and they still managed to give the rounds away. Here, you're almost cautiously optimistic that this round could be the one, with 6 drones left alive, the Yana still on side as well to help with that information, and a couple of frags still in back pocket. This is looking good for Secret finally.
Speaking of looking good, Packball's in and he's just going to plant. There is no one there to deny him. I don't think there's a C4 with Always down. There's no way to get this. And is that C4 close? No, I think it got caught on the door frame there. Oh, they needed, you know what they actually needed? Someone to jump out White Window. I know it seems ridiculous to force aggression that way, but they needed someone to give them some kind of option there. And there was no option that round whatsoever, Des. They all just repelled Cocktail. No player from the attacking side should ever be allowed to repel in like that. I don't think Empire had an answer for that, considering most of their defense usually operates from Cocktail outwards towards Piano, and they've never had to deal with an attack going the opposite way in.
Quite bizarre that Empire deny the flawless round from Secret by team killing with a C4. Because that was otherwise a flawless round. Everything went the way of Secret there, but because they managed to kill one of their own, I think that must have broken the flawless round officially. I don't know. Either way, that was a much more convincing round from Secret. It does give them that one round of peace of mind, as we always say. You don't want to go into the second half constantly being at match point. Ideally, you're looking for at least 2. So hopefully they can find that now. We head back onto Kitchen. Downstairs we go once again. They did get themselves a little bit hung up here last time when it came around to actually pulling the trigger and going for the execute on the drop. Things went okay. They didn't get themselves caught out by the player in VIP. They didn't get shut down hard inside a freezer. It came down to that awkward post-plan situation where the bomb was down, but with 3 members all taking 1v1s against Scyther, he clutched up massive for the team. Here, I imagine it's a case of just being a little more cautious, waiting to take those trades if you can, rather than looking for the 1v1s towards the end of the round.
Yeah, I want to see exactly how Empire decide to hold this time, because they know there were so many mistakes last time they held this. They may have won the round, but they lost players in areas they probably should not have lost them. And I'll be looking towards that VIP hold there, because they know at least that Secret does have a little bit of a tendency towards freezer, towards VIP area, at least in that way of attack. And the big thing for Empire now will be just holding on VIP for as long as possible. I believe Always is just looking to catch some drones and maybe lurk upstairs for a little bit to be able to destroy some and then rotate down. Because solo roaming against a team like Secret is really not the play, considering how many drones and people they throw towards that roam clear.
The big focus on the side of Empire and denying that as best they can, given there's a Mozzie and a Mute both on side. Bit of a throwback. You do sometimes see this come out when you see the Wamai and the Jaeger band away, although when they are together it can be a little bit of a different story, and Always going to just abandon ship on the top floor using that C4 to get himself out of dodge fast. I think as you realise that pressure was coming in from the top 4 pretty quickly. Hive going to find Always. The guy just dropped down just a second ago, so it shan't be Hive going down early on in this round as he has done back in round number 3. Should have a bit of time with those air jabs to make sure key locations are locked off. Isn't currently one down on red stairs. I think as I say that, there's one coming down at the lower side of it. In fact, it's just on the window. So he'll be getting to work making sure those flanks are aptly covered for later on in the round.
See that rotate cut? It was so simple, yet it was so effective. This is what I mean, roaming by yourself. What's your opportunity to rotate back to site? There's only 2 staircases. There's no hatches open. He was in a really bad position there. I could see what he was trying to do, but he really didn't achieve it. And now Empire are 1 man down. I said they really barely held on to Kitchen last time. This is not the position they want to be in. And, well, Secret even sped this up even more, I think. I think they've managed by at least 10 seconds to get above a little bit quicker. There's no real contesting of it outside of Always, who's already gone down. And now for the most part, it's up to Hive to be able to hold these flanks. I think he got lit up doing so, but I don't think anyone should contest him anymore, Des, because for the most part, you know you've lost top floor. There's a lot of people up there. Now you just have to try and use your C4s and a little bit of your grit here against those verticals.
Interesting in this round, they don't commit the 2x Kairos onto that wall at the bottom of the far left west side of pillars to look to open up this vertical angle downstairs. They've just gone for a breaching charge instead and gone for what they can. In fact, I say that they are now going to come and commit the X Kairos anyway, so those angles will be opened up for them. I think they put an awful lot of stock in, being willing to commit 2 of their hard breaches to that one location.
I think they really want that angle. I think that angle is integral to the way that they get that execute off and they hold the rotate, which is fair enough. If that's something they find...
No awkward red stairs flanking out or anything like that.
If they find that integral, then there you go.
And they come with a drop straight down inside a freezer. And hey, we're here once again. Look at this there, but there's a slightly different stack up of numbers here. A 5 versus 4. Smokes are coming out, and Packball once again will be dodging just around the side of it. Don't try and stick it, man. Surely he doesn't finish it off. No, he won't, and he'll go down for it as well. Bit of a mistake on his side there, and Shotay once again back into the same spot. I feel like we've been here before, Jess. Only this time around, Scyther has got a buddy in down to try and make this happen with Prano holding on white stairs. Scyther finds one, but he's got to be able to go and find the rest. And they will.
God.
He must have gotten. I didn't even realize he won and got the guy putting the plant down as well. My bad on that one. So he once again has snatched another round inside a kitchen away from Secret. Ow!
That was what my oh my god was about, because I thought to myself, not again.
I was just staring at white stairs like Prado. There's no one else in the game right now.
I think to be such an impact player like that for Empire, not just based off frags, I think it's about impact frags. A lot of people realize, they'll look at the scoreboard and go, wow, Scyther, he's got 5 kills. He's got some of the most kills for his team. And well, let's look at the rest. They're actually putting in outside of Joystick, actually, who's not really had the best first half, even though his team is absolutely popping off with 3 rounds ahead of Secret, which we wouldn't have thought coming into this matchup. Scyther has those impact frags. He might not have a huge amount of them, but when he gets them, they do big things for the round. And it's unusual that a Jaeger is in that last second clutch situation either, and multiple times now as well.
Secret tweeting out, damn Empire, slow down please. I mean, I'm not being funny, Secret. You guys are playing it pretty chill. You're making full use of the timer, as we know you like to, but I guess looking at the scoreline, you could say Empire are making a pretty quick job of it. The thing is, I wouldn't say it's coming out like... I'm not saying here that Empire aren't playing well. The couple of clutches they pulled out inside the kitchen have been wonderful, and all on Scyther's back as well. But they're 2 rounds that you point at as if you're Secret and think, man, those rounds were winnable. We should be at 3-2 right now. This should not be a 1-4 situation for us.
I agree. I think Secret will look back at this, especially if they don't make the major, and they look back on this and go, those first few rounds, or those few rounds in the first half, I should say, that we didn't manage to get, were easy win. And they really were for the most part. I think them repelling into Cocktail was the most confident round I saw from them. And outside of that, it was really scrappy.
Well, for Secret, that second round in the first half is calling to them. They know they can achieve it. They know how close they've been a good few rounds in this half, but it hasn't just yet fallen by the wayside for them. Or it has fallen by the wayside. It hasn't fell by their side or into the wayside. Same starting once again up on the top floor. It's going to be this top floor to kick things off, as we're so used to seeing Empire once again looking to stick 2 or 3 members up on the top floor. Some teams stick 3, some stick 2 up there. In this case, I think it's just Empire and Joystick looking to cause some trouble. And look at that. Hive once again finds Always. That is the 3rd round in a row that Always has been found out very early in these rounds.
I was speaking about the coaching clip I watched about Team Empire and the way that their coaches are really hardcore with them, the way that they speak to them about, their mistakes and feedback. And Always was the one that had the most intense criticism about the fact that he can't sit still, that he always wants to jump out or peek something. And his coaches have been very critical with him, saying, you can't do that. You can't just jump out everywhere. You can't just run away. You just can't, run around the map as you please. You've got to be a smarter player. And clearly he's still struggling with those things. Oh.
I mean, Dan clearly isn't heeding that kind of advice as he's going to run out and find Hive. But no, we spoke about a couple of times trying to get those air jabs down in key spots before he does lose his life. Well, here it's going to be a bit of an early exit for Hive once more. 4 versus 4. Top floor control is falling into Secret's hands right now. As you can see, a lot of blue bodies on the top floor and very few orange. That means much of them will have dropped down, maybe looking to play behind a C4 or 2 if those are still in hand. And they're gearing up ready. Joystick actually on the roam all the way downstairs, doesn't have a C4 in hand, but no doubt creeping his way back up towards red stairs, trying to take a more safe return back to his team.
Well, they are opening up all of these verticals, and you're right, Empire has just completely evacuated the room for the most part. I say that, and down on a Prano will mean a good trade should come out. I think they should know he is down, and no one's even remotely close enough to pick him up, you know, even from any kind of wit of safety. I think Packball will look to maybe try, but with 30 seconds left, that's a risk. Oh, and he knows that someone's aiming at him. And Joystick, he's had a horrible game, and from a down to just being taken out before they can get him. Sniped from across the map. That's what you like to see.
What on earth was that? They've managed to at least keep control here. Secret, we're down to the final 15 seconds, and it's all down to Shepard. What can he do here as the final man standing on the smoke? Can he pull off a Scyther and bring this one back for the team? Draven pushing down red. Shate looking to go for the plant here. Won't get himself smoked out. In fact, Shepard is going to rotate above. Everyone's downstairs. Can he get in a spot here to make this happen? He must know. They're in the default spot. He doesn't know. No, he does not. That'll be the diffuser going down. Will almost get the down from above. Has to pull out the shotgun and revert to trying to go for the spray afterwards. 40 seconds remain. Not a lot of HP left for the two attackers here. And the smoke babe still in hand to make use of. Runs out with the shotgun, but Draven, he's not going to make the same mistake as he made against Scyther. Connects the kill. Secret will find their second round.
The moment I saw him going upstairs, I said, that's the play. The power position is always the vertical on the reading side. It's always undeniably the best position to be in, especially when you're planting default behind bookcase. For me, what I was worried about was that he was looking the wrong way. He thought it was a couch plant like Secret had done in the previous rounds before. Instead, it was actually the default plan, as you were calling. You have a 50-50 chance. You either deny the plant and pretty much win, of which you could have, but how many rounds does Empire need to clutch to walk away the victors? You know what I mean? I don't think that's something you need to rely on as a team. It's okay to lose one of those clutch rounds out of all of them. You can't always be a Scyther. And now, well, we get to see Secret on defense, and this is something I'm really excited for. I wonder what the Warden is about. My understanding is that it is to counter the smokes from Dan, but we'll see if they even come out.
And also for the fact that you can get flashed out a lot by the gadgets coming out the other side. I mean, admittedly for Empire in this round, there are only 3. One sat on the Ash, everything else. I'm looking at it and thinking there isn't really all that much utility to be dealing with the ADSs here, unless you're willing to commit the breaching rounds for it, which is always a risk given that there are Shate on side as well. So I wonder if Empire have misread into this here. They're going to be able to deal with all of these Vulcan shields as well as the Evil Eyes and the ADSs coming out. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, what do we got? Let's say he uses 2 concussions, a lance, 3 flashes. Yeah, no, he should have enough. I mean, granted, you are using pretty much every single piece of utility to be able to just displace one shield, let alone the fact that they're doing it.
Either way you look at it, right?
Well, I mean, they're doing a double shield setup here, and this is one of my favorite, actually, because once you lose Pixel, you don't really lose Pixel. You just revert over to Bathroom, and that's new Pixel. I am surprised a lot of teams don't deal with this by rappelling up on South Window and really heavily challenging that angle, upside down diagonal angle, but it is hard to rappel on the South without risking that garage peak as well.
What I will give to Empire in that first half was, although we were often saying, oh, it always comes down to clutch, it always comes down to secret planting. Yeah. Yes, but it looks like the strategy overall was playing for the retakes. And given the round that turned into a 3 versus 3 for Empire to then find 3 kills in, you can give them a nod and say fair play. You were willing to let them in for the plant. You weren't willing to contest it at every single turn. You'd rather that plant go down and pay for the post plant, and maybe relying on individual members. Not the best play, but still turned out pretty well for them in the 4 and 2. As mentioned, though, it does give a bit of breathing room for Secret, so you shouldn't be too worried about this one. Here's Hive once again looking to be quite aggressive here, peeking onto the window, and you have a feeling there he really should have lost his life, or at least found the kill back the other way.
No, you know I spoke about it, I think I spoke about it in CL, where if you place the shield too far up, and you have an explosion of which the radius reaches that shield right in front of it on the soft wall, then those ADSs won't work. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened there, and Joystick. He didn't come alight in the first half, but now he's showing what exactly he could do on the Zofia. It's interesting for him to go from just full support on defense to pretty much flex frag now on attack. It must free him a little bit as well.
Man's trying to play flexible. What can we say? Trying to find where he feels most comfortable, like changing day to day. And I don't blame him. He did find his home on that supportive role for a while. Maybe less so today, but that's why we're trying him on the Zofia now. By the way, Shepard on this Carly is pick that we haven't seen tons of, but more and more teams, I'd say, began to start employing. Looking, of course, it can contribute towards the destruction of gadgets. Not too many pros are super fond of the single bolt action rifle, but some can make it work just fine for them. Scooter downstairs makes... Honestly, Scyther, Scooter, it's Scyther. We've all decided we're going with it. Forgive me if I keep on saying Scooter. We've gone one way, and now I'm going too far to go back the other way. Scyther gets a double kill, finds yet another, but Patbull's going to trade up nice and close onto Shepard, but does not win the 1v1 against Dan. It's a 1 versus 4. Empire with this round would put themselves at 5. They are 2 rounds away from breaking Secret's hearts and taking that major spot, and you can feel it building towards that fever pitch now, where you start asking Secret, what have you got for us? Where was that team that took 4 wins at the start of the stage?
It's almost like and I hate to bring it up, you know, too soon, but it's like a Rogue story, isn't it? You know, Rogue just were unstoppable in stage 1. You come into stage 2, and now they're in the 9th position, confirmed. I mean, what a sad tale of giants who've just been left wanting, really. And now for Secret, I don't want to say that they're in anywhere near the same position, because for stage 2, they've obviously had a massive pickup, and that's what we wanted for them. We want that for every team. But for the most part, I really feel like teams have worked them out now. They've just kind of looked at the team over the first few weeks and gone, yeah, we know what you like to do. We know you're an objective-heavy team. They always were an objective-heavy team. They could just never really work out the I guess, the ways in which they wanted to execute it. They said that the early and mid-round was great, but when it got to execution, things fell apart. And now with their new lineup, that doesn't seem to be a problem. But teams have worked that out now. Play your plant denial, play your drone denial, play your early interruption game if you want onto how they're entering into the map. I think Empire, for the most part, you look at their lineup when they're on defense, they were focusing on Shepard being able to get that plant denial. They had some C4s in hand, we spoke about it. Now here for Secret, what they're trying to do is be quite aggressive, I think, and it's not really paying dividends against Empire, who are playing this quite well on attack thus far.
Playing it quite well, and also given down to Secret losing a couple of key head-to-heads in this matchup. Draven in a couple of the post plants not winning his ones. These things happen. In the last round, you had Shotay stood there with a C4 in hand, absolutely zero idea of where he was being shot from, and goes down to the Zofia. These things happen, but what I hate about saying that is these things happen is what we said about Secret in the last stage, when things were looking absolutely dire for them, is they would always find the opening kill, but they'd be always unable to actually convert the round regardless of the advantage they've built for themselves, and that was always a concern they couldn't do it. Dare I say this is looking slightly reminiscent, where although they look better than they did the last stage, I still think that is the case here. There's still rounds that they are giving away where they don't really need to, because they already are in a commanding advantage, and that is the big problem they need to work out. Thankfully for them, relegation is a thing of the past. With that excellent sprint at the very start of this, that honeymoon period of bringing on those 2 new players, they have seen results of the stage. They now don't have to worry about relegation. We do have to, of course, wait a good few months until we see the next stage of EUL coming back into 4. If they don't make this major, that's the end of their siege for a while.
A lot of teams have been discussing that recently, and no one wants to miss out on the major. No one wants to miss out on any type of finals in any way, shape, or form. I think for Empire, they've been really wanting to get back to some kind of stage of some form, some kind of grand finals. So I don't think for Secret turning around and losing this here now, if they do manage to lose this matchup against Empire, they could feel too bad, because they've walked away a brand new revitalized team. They've got to be really happy about that. Whereas for Empire, this has kind of been something that they've been working towards for a really, really long time. A lot longer than Secret's new revitalized roster. So I think Empire are the ones that have really said to themselves, we finally deserve this. This is something we've worked a long time for now to bring back to our former glory. Can we do it? Well, this game's kind of looking like it. Oh, that's easy. Ooh, there's an ADS.
There's an ADS, but there's a drone literally on the top of those shelves, I think. Oh, there you go, it's at the bottom, sorry. I was going to say, you can very surely see Patbull there. But again, even when he's trying to run away, Dan was ready and waiting, and that is the smoke down as the opening death, not the operator you want to be losing this early on, when your job is to look to deny the push is coming out. 45 seconds to go. Empire still with all 5 left alive, and they know that there is a player holding inside a VIP. It gets smoked out. When does the push come through? The drop comes in with it being smoked out behind them, and Impact does come sailing through to try and damage those inside, but it's more of a slight scratch here coming onto the 1 member. Shepard's going to step out and try and find the kill. Shotay will trade 1 back. 4 versus 4, and now Shepard looking to go for a plant inside a coffee. As always collects another. They don't know that Shotay is holding just outside the double doors. He's going to go in and go for it. He will win that fight, but will be traded out a second after, and now Empire into a 3 versus 2. They've got the numbers, but look at this angle from Hive. They have no idea where he is. Misses the crucial shot onto Always, and Prano's going to find 1 back. Always is trying to stick out the plant. plant. It's going to be an easy step round here. Wonderful work by Secret, playing for the retake in exactly the same way that Empire did.
That was really well played there. I don't know who was holding that garage angle over to VIP and Brown stairs. Might have been Joystick, I'm not entirely sure, but their job was super, super important. And the trouble was they did their job perfectly. The smoke rained down, it covered all of the line of sight for the freezer drop. It was great. But as the Carly tried to move in, they didn't realize there were so many holes all the way over in Bakery, all the way over in the middle of sight between grill and service, and all of a sudden the Carly's like, hang on, we didn't clear Bakery, and they have this super long line of sight over towards us running over to default. So he hits the ground and he just tries to crawl his way into a position. A little bit disappointed because Shate did take out the frag over towards the pressure that would have gotten him from double doors. And now we're in a situation where, well, you're in a gunfight, you're not going to be able to get the plant down with these numbers, and boom, Secret walk away with a round in their hands, and a round that they really probably need, because when you're on defense, if you're losing rounds consistently, especially on Cafe, that's a big worry sign. Either your opponents are so much better than you that you can't even solidify defensive rounds, or you're both an attacking sided team, which these teams are not. So there's no excuse here for Secret. Now they're on defense. They must put these rounds on the board.
A single round being pulled back that way at least gets the defense started the way that they wanted to after losing that previous round. Empire in a spot where that round played out, as mentioned, very similar to how it played out for Secret on their attack in the first half, where they had all the cards lined up, they were going for the plant, couldn't keep the two members that were trying to hold the diffuser on site long enough to go for that plant without losing their lives. Good play as well, consistently coming out of Hive, playing all the way across in Bakery with those longer angles to deny a range that Empire didn't seem even aware of he was holding. So fair play. Retake works absolute wonders. But now we go back on towards Reading and Fireplace. First time we're seeing it between these two teams in the second half. We'll see how things shape up for Empire on the attack. Once again, I've got to look at clearing that top floor, taking that vertical angle control, and then drop to try and look to go for your plants on the downstairs. What I like here from Secret, and this is a little bit bolshy of them, I think, actually, is holding like they were defending a top floor. They've got a shield inside of storage, one on Pixel. For most teams, you won't do this when you're defending Reading and Fireplace. You reinforce both storage walls out towards the east and playing Cocktail, ready to drop away. This is a really aggressive hold, given the site that we're on, and Empire, sorry, if they chose to. We'd probably even think about totally bypassing this and just ignoring all the utility and reinforcements that have been committed upstairs.
Oh, they do dispatch the first shield, and there won't be another one in bathroom, is there? I can't really see from my particular angle. Nope, not at all. So just lines of sight for Prano for the most part. My idea is that really the only soft breach they've got, unless of course there's some breaching charges, Shepard has breaching charges, is Always. And Always has had a pretty rough game thus far. So to be relying on one / maybe two players to get you the really integral vertical holds that you need is a tricky situation to be in. So I kind of like this extended hold from Secret. Forcing that utility out of Empire early on in the round is great. And it's stalled them out. It's over half the round now, and they haven't even really made a dent in the top floor hold.
I'm so worried about this bathroom that they just kind of go, right, okay, guys, we're going to have to play this like we're attacking the top floor here, commit some hard breaching, take some time on the drones to really reset and do things properly. It is going to drag that clock downwards, and that's when you start making mistakes. You start being forced to panic a little bit. And here at that 1:05 mark, they've lost Scyther at the same time on the Ash. I imagine a good chunk of his utility had already been committed on that top floor. But look, you still got members of Secret playing on the top floor. With 45 seconds to go, this has got to be panic stations for Empire.
Oh, Draven's hit two beautiful headshots with that Vector. He managed to get Scyther, and then he's gotten Shepard. Two really key members here for Empire as they try and get that top floor assault underway. And finally, Always will kick things off onto Hive. But now he needs to focus on one or two vertical holes, especially over towards Freezer, are really important now because we're down to 20 seconds. Diffuser's not in hand. This is just going to have to be a frag fest.
Absolutely, but they do find 2 kills, and oh my god, please don't let this be the reverse. Secret must be thinking, no way have they pulled this back to a 2 versus 1. A round that Secret have done so well in wasting so much time, and now Prano get pushed from one, swings round to the left. Who wins the next one? Joystick wins it out! And Prano, you'd have put his name on that one, saying he should have been the one to take it away. But Empire will take the round, and with that secure themselves at least a point. They need the win to absolutely lock themselves into the major here, but Secret have got to be worried.
I really feel for Secret here because I don't imagine this is how they thought this matchup would go. you're on Cafe. It's a map that Secret aren't that bad at, let's be honest. And we really haven't seen much from them here, which is a shame because Empire, I wouldn't say Empire are playing a great game of Siege. For my analysis here, I would say that there's a couple of players on Empire that have really been lacking in the first half. It was always a joystick. They were just lacking tenfold, and it really let them down in multiple rounds. You had to have really big hero plays from a couple other players. But on the side of Secret, I look over there and I go, actually, a lot of the players have been putting up numbers, but probably one of the names that you would often say you want to see numbers from is Packball, and he's been hitting a bit of a mental brick wall for some reason.
The thing is, I know Packball's had some really high moments this season. I think I said this a couple of weeks back, actually, is that I know he's had real high moments. The Clash 1v1, the clutch on Cafe itself, for example, lying in a dead body that got him the title of Rat Bull, for example. Small moments like that. But he is still the support player on the team, and his numbers on the KD, they aren't that hot this stage. He's 44 and 61 with a minus 17 KD. You kind of expect that when you've got players like Prano who are sat at plus 20 overall. They're the guys you expect to be doing the fragging, and Packball is often left in these very difficult to win situations when he is one of the final players left alive. And you can't expect him to always win those out. So it's a tough one. It's a real tough expectation for them. This game kind of looking how I would say you'd expect this to go for most of Secret, where maybe Prano would be the one that's dragging them ahead if they were to look to be equal or ahead in this fixture overall. I'd just say on the side of Empire, they have been much sharper when it comes to the gunfights this game in Secret, lagging behind a little bit of points.
Well, Joystick's really redeemed himself. As I spoke about before, he had a really off first half, but I think he's really stepped up here in the second half and is being that Zofia player that all teams really need their Zofia player to be, you know, cooking those ADSs, getting rid of Code, good night. As I speak of the man, I cast a curse him, and my apologies there, Joystick. I was just trying to talk you up a little bit, but that's my bad. But, you know, he's doing the work that you would expect a Zofia player to know how to do. Cook the ADS, get rid of the shields, make sure both concussions and impacts are being used, plus be the gunner that we know a lot of those Zofia players are expected to be. So it's a big job as well.
I like the aggression the Castle's enabled this round because Shate no way would have been able to walk through Piano and make that C4 play. Oh, I tell you what, if that had been any sooner, that could have been absolutely dire for Empire, given a couple of them did drop through the red hatch. But I was going to say, because that castle barricade was there, they managed to have Shate run the length of Piano, chuck that C4 out the window onto the rappel, which is what brought Joystick down. Without that castle barricade there, wouldn't have been possible, and it was a very aggressive play that did pay off for them, now neutralized by the fact that we're into a 4 versus 4.
A little bit of a late reinforcement there. Maybe they forgot to reinforce it. Maybe it was just a decision late into the round. Either way, they know that the attack is coming from Cocktail. Really conventional from Empire, and that's kind of what we expect. Empire's always been that kind of conventional team. They've never really deviated from the meta for the most part, or they've made their own meta and sort of stayed behind that for as long as they can. Smokes to be able to guard some of those Selmas, and it will go off, and Packball, he's able to pop off onto Always. Always got that really good shot before on the C4 player, and, well, he gets a little bit of revenge there. But as we get down to the 40-second mark, Des, I'm worried here for Empire in that last time they didn't have the diffuser in hand. It didn't look to be an objective-based round. This time they haven't displaced a lot of these key plays, and they're relying on smoke. This is not the play.
Now they must know because of the ping, and there we go. There's Prano sitting behind the bar. Smoke works both ways, I'm afraid. Not just for you, but for the other guys as well. We'll pop up from behind bar and collect that closing kill. Empire never really able to get started there because of the aggressive hold from Secret in towards Piano. Prano hanging around bar and storage. Just looking to say you cannot take anything here. Cigar is where you must stay, and Cigar is where the round must end. For Secret here, it's more of a point of playing for that a draw point. I guess the one thing to acknowledge here, if Secret manage to tie things up here and it ends on a draw, if G2 draw against Tempera, Secret still have the head-to-head advantage ahead of Empire, I think, when they come to a draw. They will be the ones who finish in 4th place, but you are gambling on G2 and Tempera ending as a draw. That is a lot to ask for, given the volatility both of those teams have shown so far this season.
Yeah, that is when things start to get really complex on the leaderboard. Things start to go down to the little nitty-gritties, the numbers, the admins we'd be calling over and saying, hey, which way is this swinging? Who's got what over who? Is it? Are we going down to even round differential? And if we are, who's it between? So you really need a win out here for Empire. I think for the most part now, you're 2 rounds deficit for Secret, so you're fired up. You're saying, we need these 2 rounds, let's bring it back. Let's at least gain that 1 point and hope that things swing our way when it gets to those nitty-gritties. And if you're Empire, you don't want to choke. I know they're on attack, And I hate saying that teams, when they fall onto attack and start losing rounds, is called a choke, because it's not. Because if they had started on attack and then gone onto defense in the second half, then it would still be them making a comeback and people would claim the other team was choking. But it naturally would have gone that way anyway. My point here for Empire is they knew their mistakes in the past couple of rounds, relying on smokes, not destroying Maestro cams here. As you see the Evil Eye coming out from Draven, you knew that was what probably was your biggest thorn in your side to getting that plant down. Get rid of it, do your job, go for the plant, and then cover. Don't overextend. And that's what I want to see here from Empire to cap off this match point.
I love to see Prano playing this more aggressive Bandit. Some Bandit players, as we've seen in a couple of teams, love just playing this more aggressive style. Let's run around the map, and in fact we're fast, got a pretty decent gun we can play behind and a C4 to make use of. Hey, we can make magic happen here. I think it's more focused around him being downstairs with the denial of the bandit charges, mind you. They've double reinforced off the freezer wall, which will mean there's no need for someone to play inside of VIP. Much more looking to lock themselves in and hopefully playing behind the denial when the drop does come through from Fireplace, if that turns out to be the attempt from Empire, or if they look towards Bakery. But given where players have started off, it is going to be that top floor clear. That does scream that Fireplace should be the angle they go for when it comes round to execution time.
I think Prano's hoping that he can help his teammate upstairs at Shate on the Jaeger. And by doing this roam, you are going to stall Empire out. And when they get stalled out, we've seen how bad that is for Empire on both, all of their attacks that I can think of. Time has been a problem for them. And there goes your big hitter, the Ash. The big clutch master of Empire, Scyther, going down here on match point. That's everything Secret wanted. And now Hype is just going to do a little bit of remaking of his strategy and going, actually, yeah, I think they're going to go for a top push. And when you go for a top push, you drop Freezer. So let's drop a Banshee there as well.
So I need some vibes inside the freezer. Just let them come vibe out with him. Come for the drop, guys, and feel free to hang around for a long time because you won't be walking anywhere very fast. Looking towards Secret, 4 members all bunched out towards the west. They're playing behind that C4 initially. Don't think they can try for a second one unless we can see Prano land something magical here, but trying to contest every angle that gets opened up just in case he's still hanging around. Always a little bit too quick on his feet, dancing around the concrete ring inside a train here. Shouldn't find himself getting caught out anytime soon. Apple once again is in the same location. We remember when he got caught out here last time. I believe it was by Dan who had the angle last time when the drone was in place and he was threatened out by grenades. He got up and stepped away, instantly put into the dirt. And look at this, actually. Secret have entirely moved themselves inside a bakery here, almost abandoning side completely.
Oh, no. Last time they did this, they actually had some of that bakery wall opened up, so it gave them a long line of sight. Now they don't have that luxury. It's all closed off. None of the attackers have opened it up for them. And, oh yeah, cook those ADSs with the smoke. Here we go. Packball surely goes down. Slither of HP, and now he's got to use his smoke babes as best he can because he knows his life has a short period of viability here for him as Empire starts to rain the side.
Secret might have done enough here just to keep themselves going. A draw, as said, would be enough for now until we see the result of next game. But Empire storming like that. 3 kills for Dan come out of absolutely nowhere. And he might have just won them that spot at the major. He might have just crushed their dreams, but there's no time left. Down comes Hive. Dan is ready. What a closing round out of Empire. It all happened so fast, but like that, Secret dreams gone. And Empire, a spot at the major secured.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now we know exactly who will be joining BDS at the major. It looks like
Pro.
Yeah, Virtus Pro's there as well. We've got 2 Russian teams here for the major. 1 French team, 2 Russians. If you look towards CL every Friday, you'll know that there are other Russian teams vying for those big spots as well in their particular tiers. And that's a great win for Empire now because they will finally feel like they're slowly climbing back to that old form we knew that Russian machine to be. But are they the new Russian machines that VP have been coined, or are they just the rusty version of VP, really? I mean, we've got to wait for the major to see that.
Yeah, the Red Menacer joystick not quite awakening today. More in the second half than he did in the first, admittedly, but Scyther with some wonderful retakes and clutch moments. Twice on the same site and almost twice in exactly the same manner. Secret could not hold Empire at bay. Let's go over to Adesto and get their thoughts on this matchup.
Victory